My name is Robert Shelley with Shelley Law, and I'm also the founder of Out of Residency, and I assist physicians coming out of training with their first employment contract. Today I'm going to talk about extra ways that a resident physician can make money during training. So many of you are probably thinking, how the hell am I going to have time to make extra money during training? Which is an absolutely valid point, but there are those that absolutely need to make extra money. And so I have a few ways that you can make a little bit of extra money if you have the time. So before I get into this, there are some ACGME prohibitions against working for a number of days in a row or a certain amount of hours within a few days. So you need to look into those before you start the first potential possibility, which is moonlighting. Each state has different levels of licensure. Some states just have training permits. Others will have like a low-level license. And then as you progress forward in the USMLE and other, completing your other coursework and training requirements, you can then be fully licensed and allowed to, see patients on your own. So you need to look into the licensure requirements in your state where you're training and then determine if you are able to work on your own. But if you do get to that point, you can moonlight. Now, this most likely only applies to some specialties, not all. For instance, pathology, derm, surgical specialties, unlikely you'll have moonlighting opportunities. The most plentiful moonlighting opportunities are, ED, hospitalists, that type of like inpatient type activities, where you're providing face-to-face clinical care will be the most, plentiful ways of finding jobs. You could also do urgent care. There are millions of urgent care clinics popping up seemingly in every strip mall in the country simultaneously. So the first one is moonlighting. The next would be being a research assistant. If you're in an academic training center or affiliated, closely with the university, there are always part-time academic research positions where you can comb through data on the weekends. You won't have to generally write anything. You're just kind of collecting data for whoever's doing the higher level research. That will pay. And usually it's, kind of on your own time. So that would allow you an opportunity to make a little bit of money as well. And then the last, and I think probably the easiest and best way for someone to make money is tutoring. So, and this would be specifically tutoring med students or those in undergrad as well. There are plenty of people who are, on the biology course in med school, in undergrad, or they're in med school and need a little assistance with certain subjects that will pay a pretty high rate per hour, and it would be completely on your own time, and it can also be done remotely. So you could work from home, you could work on your own time based upon your own schedule, and be paid a decent hourly rate for tutoring. So a couple things you need to think about. One, how to get those positions. There are plenty of websites that you can sign up for, and then they're like a brokerage for students looking for a tutor in a specific area, and then obviously the person that wants to teach those subjects. The downside of that, the brokerage or whatever you want to call it, the website, they're going to take out a decent percentage of your hourly rate. If you can directly go to the students, either by posting on university or med school, boards, that would be a better way. It would increase your hourly rate rather than going through one of those middlemen who are, you're going to have to sign up and go through a vetting process. The scheduling for some of those sites is a little wonky. As I said before, they're going to take a percentage of what you want. So I think if you, beyond doing moonlighting, so if there are certainly some of you that don't have the time or just absolutely burned out and don't want to do a full shift, or maybe you're not far along in the process, maybe you're in your internship or PGY1 or whatever, tutoring, I think, is probably the best and easiest way of making the most amount of money with the least amount of stress. So that's my thought on how to make money while you're a physician resident. I mean, the main problems with money is the average residency pays around $60,000. Now, obviously you will make less at the beginning and then make more as you progress in training, and then the fellowship increases a little bit as well. For some of you that are single, that's a sufficient amount of money, but you also have to take into account where you live. And then those that have families, with multiple kids, sustaining a family on that amount of money is extremely difficult. I mean, I review, hundreds and hundreds of contracts a year for those coming out of training. And I can just tell you, for some of them, thinking of they're finally going to get a large paycheck on a monthly or biweekly basis, just life-changing for them. And getting through those 4 or 5 years of training is very difficult for some. And so being able to supplement the income in any way is a huge benefit to them. So those are my thoughts on making a little bit of money while you're training. If you have any questions about an employment contract, independent contractor agreement, or you're having trouble while in residency, feel free to contact my law firm at the phone number listed below in the description. We also have our website listed below as well. We have a ton of videos on those coming out of training and residency issues. So I'd check the channel, and if you have a question, we may have already answered it. All right, appreciate you watching the video. Thanks.